just outside the goal line. And they will wrangle him down a couple yards shy of the 30. So out comes this offense to take over for the first time. And leading them out there, we get a look at their 6'3" quarterback.
And what I enjoyed in preparing for this game was talking not just with the coaching staff, but with him as well. And I found it interesting that the coaching staff sees him one way, and he sees himself an entirely different way.
Yeah, one thing he said he's always working on, we know he's not bad at this, but his footwork, always wants to improve that, and that's something he's going to focus on here.
And what was so funny, what the offensive coordinator say right off the top, he's got great footwork. Love his footwork. So this guy is never satisfied.
Made for Love is operational. Age implanted into couple's brain.
I have to lose right now.
Have some spaghetti first.
It's the first day of April, which means it's a new month, and that also means there's a new title update for Madden 21. Now, I'm actually surprised they updated the game today, because typically they wait a few days into the month to release the update, and usually it comes at the beginning of the week on a Monday or a Tuesday. So they kind of caught us off guard today, doing this later into the afternoon. But we do have a new update. I did say in my previous video that I expected at least one last update in April, because they did an update in April last year. I think they even maybe did two, and the game released a month earlier last year, so I knew they would definitely drop one in April for sure. Now, I've skimmed the update a little bit so far. I haven't read the whole thing, but it definitely looks like they didn't do all the things we really wanted them to do with this update, which leads me to believe there could still possibly be another one that's coming, but this could also be the last one. We don't know for sure. So let's get into it. It says here, to ensure Madden is the best game possible, scheduled updates are deployed by the Madden development team to add features to the game after launch and to tune gameplay based on community feedback. Our launch updates focus on many of the issues that Madden players report to us. We thank you for your feedback. You've helped us improve Madden 21. I mean, all that right there just, Madden 21 is not that good of a game, and it doesn't really seem like it's improved too much. I will say the last update definitely helped the online a little bit by the way they changed some of the ability stuff. Definitely that was a good fix, but there's still so many other issues with the game. Anyway, we do have some gameplay updates. So let's talk about it. So of course, as always, we do have those general stability fixes. We don't really know what it means. I just always think it means something with like connectivity and servers and stuff like that. They put that in every update. We don't truly know what it means, but we'll just get that one out of the way first. Next up here, it says they fixed an issue allowing the play to sometimes be incorrectly blown dead if the QB stood still for a significant duration of time. And they added a dev note here that says this issue would sometimes occur in situations where a user on defense would put extra defenders into coverage, forcing the offensive user to wait for a receiver to break open versus the additional defenders in coverage. The play would be blown dead due to logic that was incorrectly detecting the forward progress to be stopped in this situation, which we have corrected. So this is an issue that you do come across online because of how the game is this year. A lot of people run coverage style defense, whereas in years past you would see very heavy blitzing defenses, blitzing 6 and 7 guys on most downs. This year, people do blitz, but it's more of a mix-in. What people do on a down-to-down basis is usually drop anywhere from 9 to, yes, even sometimes all 11 people into coverage, especially in must-pass situations. They'll usually run some form of man defense, and then they'll just drop some zones underneath from their defensive line. And in certain situations, they really will drop all 11 people back into coverage, especially if it's a situation where it's at the end of half or the end of game and it's in the red zone, so you can't really run the ball, and you're trying to force these passes into tight windows. People have done this a lot, and what the offensive player typically does, if they're smart, is they're going to stand there and wait, because if there's zero pass rush, they're not really in a hurry to make a read. You kind of have to wait and hope that somebody breaks open, which eventually, usually somebody will. You just have to kind of thread the needle. Well, there was a bug going around that would sometimes blow the play dead, which is the exact opposite of what you want to happen, obviously, because that's just playing right into the defensive player's hands, because they're dropping people back, knowing that you can't throw the ball quick, and then you still lose the down sometimes. So that was a definitely bad bug that was in the game. I personally hadn't run into it too much, but I've definitely seen it, so it's good that they did correct this, and this is for next gen and current gen. This was an issue. They fixed it on both. They also fixed an exploit allowing a user on defense to go offsides and block a field goal while losing after the penalty was accepted. The half would end without another attempt on the untimed down. Now this one right here is just, this one annoys me so much because it's literally in the game every single year. Every single year they have to fix it. Literally, I cannot remember the last Madden where this exploit wasn't a thing. So basically what you would do if there's like 2 seconds left in the half, or 2 seconds left at the end of the game, let's say, and your opponent called a timeout and they were going to kick the game-winning field goal, or like if it's halftime and they're just trying to add more points, you can line up all sides, block the kick, the clock hits 0, and that's it. It just goes to half or the game ends. Now, like I said, this has been an exploit for years. Every single year this is in the game, every single year it has to get patched. Which leads me to believe when they're patching stuff like this, it doesn't carry over to the next year's game. Otherwise, they wouldn't have to keep doing it every single year. But if they know this is a thing every year, why are they even letting the game launch with these bugs? Because this isn't the only one. There's a few things that every year creep back into the game that have to be patched. So why aren't these some of the first things that are being tested in that testing stage of the game where they're trying to find bugs? You know this is going to be a thing every year. Why does the game launch with this in it every year? That's one thing I just cannot understand how they keep letting happen. And in this case, they waited all the way until April to actually fix it. This is something that should have been fixed a long time ago. So that's super frustrating, especially because I know next year when the game launches, the same bug's going to be right back in the game. Moving along here, they fixed an issue causing multiple sideline characters to clip into the walls in Falcon Stadium. Now, I feel like I've seen this happen in any stadium, not just the Falcon Stadium. I mean, clipping in general is just such an issue in Madden, has been, and it's honestly starting to annoy me. Like, I know games clip, but I feel like Madden clips a hell of a lot, and it's just like, I'm tired of seeing it happen so much. But anyway, that's a little thing they fixed for both next gen and current gen.
It feels like my entire body is dedicated fully to season. It's literally my whole body. I saw an ad online for Dr. Watch, and I was like, hey, they deliver right to your door. Look at this. This is what real soap should look like. Okay, so this one is Bay Rough. Now, my favorite part is the stipple for a little preview.
But they want it to be, right? When they
also fixed an issue causing the center to sometimes fall to the ground at the snap on under center plays. This was caused by a detected physics collision between the center and the quarterback that led to a stumble animation, which has been fixed. Now, this is only a current gen issue. This was not an issue on next gen. But again, I mean, as we're reading down this list, you're kind of seeing that some of these bugs, they're just so weird. Like, why are these things in the game? Why are they just now being fixed? I just don't understand it. Another fix they did here was they fixed an issue on the play gun, wing, stack, PA slide, preventing the receiver icons from appearing after the play. This was fixed on current gen and next gen. So again, another weird bug, this time with a specific play where the passing icon wouldn't come up. So basically you would run the play fake, and then you couldn't pass the ball to anybody. This isn't a formation that like a ton of people use. It's not a popular formation. So I can kind of see how something like this might have been under the radar longer, because it's just not something that people probably saw happen very much. I didn't even know it was a thing. So that one I can kind of understand, but again, it's basically just a lot of bugs. And at this point in the year, in April, it's like you're not really expecting to see bug fixes. You're expecting to see quality of life improvements to the game. Hey, we tweaked zone coverage, because zone coverage just got horrible after the last update. Like, they didn't actually, quote-unquote, touch zone coverage, not that we know of, but it just seems like they completely nerfed zone coverage. Deep zones are the worst they've ever been. The zone drop adjustments don't work nearly as well anymore when you drop curl flats or cloud flats to the sideline. They don't seem to get back or to the sideline nearly as good as they were before. So zone defense got worse. Man defense got worse on purpose a little bit, which was fine, but it just seems like they randomly made all defense worse. And of course, there's just tons of other issues in the game with certain abilities still not working properly, some being overpowered, some not working at all that haven't been addressed. And here we are in April, and we still haven't gotten any of our Superstar X Factor updates. We haven't gotten the playbook updates.
Want to manage your credit cards, bank accounts, and savings together? Make a better view of your money happen.
And again, I was kind of not expecting those at this point. Maybe playbooks. I kind of got over the fact that we're probably not getting any more Superstar X Factor updates. But man, for a game that's been updated so much this year and is still outside of maybe the one last update, it did get a little better overall, even though some things got worse. But other than that update, the game hasn't really gotten much better, and the things that were promised just haven't been delivered this year, despite the game being updated a ton. It's just kind of a very bad year for Madden, and I think going into Madden 22, they've got a lot of work to do to win people back over, because there was already so many people that were disappointed in the series, but this year, and some of these updates that are still coming out, it's not really doing enough to get people excited for next year's game, and I mean, that's not what any of us want. We want to be excited for the game, but it's just not there right now. So that's today's update. Let me know.
Out in some open space. The linebackers nowadays.
You're watching NFL Daily Live here on Chat Sports. Chase Sr. and Tom Downey here with you. And today's show brought to you by our friends here at Manscaped. I'll tell you what, Manscaped offers some great products. And when I made the move here to Dallas from Pennsylvania to join the Chat Sports squad, it got very interesting down there. And one of my first things that I had to do, clean it all up. And for my men out there, you have to do the same. If you go to manscaped.com/chat, you get 20% off plus free shipping, some fantastic deals. And look, your ladies, they don't want to have to go through a forest when you're getting intimate. So, hey, head to manscaped.com/chat, take care of all of that, and you'll be in a much better position. Let's get to Mel Kiper's latest big board, and I know Tom Downey is really pumped up to talk about some of these prospects. No surprise coming in at number 1, it's Trevor Lawrence. He's going to go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. We don't need to say much else.
I have nothing to add. You guys know him. Next.
Kyle Pitts coming in at number 2, a guy who I think is going to be a generational superstar.
I love him. I got him number 3 on my own, but I'm not going to argue about him being number 2 overall. He's awesome. Plug him in and play a tight end. He's going to be a superstar player. He has that upside. So no complaints about a tight end. Unusual being as high as number 2 there.
This is where things start to get a little bit interesting. Devontae Smith at number 3, ahead of guys like Jamar Chase and Jalen Waddle. What do you think about this?
Look, I think it kind of comes down to like ice cream. Like everyone has their preferred flavor. And you could go with Devonta Smith, of course, on the Heisman Trophy. He's a fantastic route runner, great hands. He is a bit slender, but whatever. You go with Jamar Chase. He's number 4 on Mel Kiper's big board here, where coming off a great pro day, which we kind of expected, and great at the catch and put up Smith-like numbers the year before Smith did, opted out. But he's super young, too. Like, there are all these great prospects at receiver. So however you want to rank them, I'm not going to complain. He's got Jalen Waddle, by the way, number 5. Having those guys basically touching in terms of the way you build out your draft board, those tags are touching, and you can't really complain about it, right? Like, all 3 are great. I love all of them. They got their strengths, got their weaknesses. Whoever you want to put at wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 3, it's fine. As long as one of those 3 guys, it's going to be an interesting debate as to which receiver goes first and who has the better long-term career. But if you're a general manager in the NFL, my people, you have to pick one. Who's it going to be? Devontae Smith, Jamar Chase, or Jalen Waddle? If it's Smith, type DS in the comments. If it's Chase, type JC. Or if it's Jalen Waddle, a guy who a lot of people are sleeping on, type JW.
I signed up to be a dad, and I absolutely love it. The sign-up process is super easy.
Let's continue on with Mel Kiper's latest big board. He has Justin Fields coming in at number 6.
Yeah, he and I see Fields pretty similarly, so you guys know about Fields. I'll make this quick note. Stop scouting the helmet. I don't care that, there are no great Ohio State quarterbacks. You know what else, guys? Comments in 2017, there are never been a great Texas Tech quarterback. Go even further back, there have been no great Cal quarterbacks. Don't scout them. If you don't like Fields, okay. But do it based on the film study as opposed to what logos on it. I think just saying, there are no good Ohio State quarterbacks.
Now, you're pretty high on Justin Fields. Are you high on Zach Wilson, who's been skyrocketing up for us and comes in at number 7?
I've got them both with round 1 grades, and I have them in the same order, too. I have them as Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson. I haven't stacked all the prospects yet. I've just like the top 3 guys since I'm just going good to players right now. But they'll probably come in around the top 10.
So here at Chat Sports, we bring you the latest news and rumors. We do some recaps. We bring you whatever's hot out there. We also have Tom Downey over here, who's one of the best draft analysts and experts in the game. So are you subscribed to our Chat Sports main channel? If not, subscribe right now. Hit that big red button because we'll continue to push out videos like this one, and head to youtube.com/chatsportstv and join the squad now. Let's continue on with Mel Kiper's latest big board, and I'm surprised that Panay Sewell is in at number 8. For a lot of other people's boards, he's much higher, but for Kiper, he comes in at 8. He's 2 for me. He's number 2. Yeah. And I get it, this is kind of a tier break in general, I think, for most people, where you got the quarterback, the receiver, the tight end, then Panay Sewell somewhere in there. I think it's someone who's been a bit of a victim of nitpicking, kind of like I've seen some with Justin Fields, where we've known about Panay Sewell for so long, you kind of want somebody else to talk about, and they end up sliding on the board further than they should. Yeah, scouts rave about Sewell, they worry about his balance, and as we move dominated at age 19. Exactly. Don't overthink it. And a guy like Rashawn Slater, who is in at number 9.
Drive will begin at the 25. And Green Bay getting ready to go as they take the field. And some dangerous territory. You're already down 3 scores. A 3-and-out here.
Big board.
Inability to put
sat out last year, but a lot of people forget that when he had to go up against Chase Young, who's going to be a Pro Bowler and All-Pro for the next decade, he fared pretty well. He felt really well. He also got beat by Zach Baum on one pass. That's one of the only quarterbacks that could be allowed in time at Northwestern in a not offensive line demanding team, but neither was Oregon. I like Slater a lot. He has a round 1 grade from me on top of that. So I got Slater behind Sewell. What I found interesting here was that Kiper put him as a guard. And I kind of think this. Yes, Rashawn Slater could be a great guard. He could be a great tackle too. And the NFL does this thing where we're like, oh, we got no tackles. Well, stop putting the good ones at guard. Like, yeah, maybe get a Dax Martin type result, but he was a guard most at Notre Dame. It was Quinn Nelson, so he played left tackle. I know the arm length is not ideal necessarily. I know the tackle's not up there on the fine. I'm playing him at tackle. If he's not great at tackle, then play him at guard. Yeah. But give him a shot at tackle first. I agree with you. So Kiper thinks he's a guard. What do you all think? Is Rashawn Slater a guard?
His 6th touchdown of the season. And the Packers get a score closer. The way this one was going, you just got the sense they needed something before half. They've at least got something on the board. Now still trailing, but a good sign.
That takes me back to our preseason tour in the NFL camp. Do you remember when we talked about one coach who said his emphasis this year was scoring in the last 2 minutes of a half heading into the guard? This is right there. Take that momentum, take that good feeling, and take the hard work and start over. They got it
there. I think he has the potential for wreck game for Devin White did in the playoffs last year. I like him. I have a round 1 grade on him, even amidst those character concerns. Positional value is a thing here too. It is an off-ball linebacker, and I do have coverage.
Go ahead and take your lead into the locker room, and then try to add to it in the second
You and Piper must be tight, because Mac Jones at 12, I think you like him in that slot. Mac Jones. You don't? No. Higher or lower? Lower. Mac Jones is my quarterback 5. I have a great round 2 going, which I know sounds like, oh, Tom's picking on Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. I think he has a long career as a, if not low-end team and third, a great backup quarterback. But I'm
oh shit, what am I doing? I'm not even paying attention to the goddamn clock.
Even though there is unquestionably more risk. And because I'm not going to define my favorite. Give me Lance. Like, see, the arm strength and the athletic ability, Lance either greater to or equal than any quarterback in the system in both areas. Now, yes, he needs some time, but I would rather gamble on a home run potential top 10 quarterback in Trey Lance than someone who I think in Mac Jones will end up being Jimmy G, which is good. If you get me Jimmy G at pick 20, for example, I love it. If I'm taking him at pick 12 or top 10, now wait a minute. Especially a guy like Trey Lance is on the board.
Yeah, Lance, hey, he played 1 game last year. A lot of people like to point that out.
As I say
was
here,
given the authority to
play
play
for
with
as
the
we
line
are
of
back
scrimmage,
underway in the second half.
3 games
That'll be
rest of
taken about a
like
yard
practice
deep.
work and all the stuff that he went through.
And
It's
ultimately
very
did not
advanced.
get
The
this
stuff
out
that
to
the
the
team had to do in terms of
25 as he
pre-scouting and
stretched
adjustment and stuff, that's going to help him in the NFL. Like sometimes we just nerd out here at
The Green Bay offense
And at
now
number
ready to
14,
take
a guy who
possession here. I guess they have to feel a little gratified to at least get on the
Jamin
board
Davis
last time, but
is
still
a
work
fun
to do.
prospect, and I've got him at linebacker 3. I finished my put it in last night, by the way. Kaiser's got him at 14, and that's early for me.
He'll lose a yard there, and it's second and 11.
I see a shake of the head as he gets up, and you've got to imagine he's thinking, guys, you got to help me out. He's hoping his team can read his thoughts, because he definitely needs some assistance.
Unfortunately, had a stroke. So he was out. Davis stepped up, and he got that
looking to throw on second down.
Fuck, come on, man.
He'll wind up getting 11 on that one. And that's going to make it third down and less than a yard.
But he's working more than that in the NFL. But he has those traits that you're searching for here. Good tackler. Times for me.
Come on. Did he get it? Hell yeah.
That's a very small amount there. I have a conflict. Don't always have. Now, I think Davis, I almost got to take the touch in here. Not as good in coverage overall. And it's a bit longer than this one, but I think if he hits,
fielded at the
and relative to where they were coming out,
it'll be a 10-yard return following a cut of 45.
Oh my God!
And come the offense as they take over. We take a glance at the offense as they work their way back out for their first possession of the second half. They were able to get the ball back here, didn't surrender any points. Now they'll look to add to that lead.
Before he got injured, he comes in at number 15 with your number 1 cornerback. Piper now has him at 15, which is right in the neighborhood of where he last
now and show them a little respect and some gratitude.
And to get a little more cushion. So they'll come up after the gain of 7 on a 2nd and 3.
Purely talent-wise, though, I have even higher on the board. And we discussed those quarterbacks there, Mac Jones and Trey Lance.
That'll be incomplete. Took a pretty good shot as he tried to pull that one in. Couldn't hang on third down.
And partner, to me, that one was all about timing. If he's there too early, it's going to be a pass interference call. If he's too late, it's a completed pass. He was Johnny on the spot on that one.
And he hits his man, Matthews. And they got it well across midfield down to the 30 before it's all said and done. That's a third down conversion of 24 yards there. Nice play.
Looked like the defense put pretty good pressure on him, but he's able to flush out to his right, trying to evade people. On the run, had to get on his horse. Still accurately throws a nice pass for a first down.
He is indicative of his entire edge rushing.
Off play action.
Wheeler. It is decent round 2. It's not decent round 1 because you've got the best athletic guys, like a Quiddy K, for example, or Jason Owe. Do not have the production that you want. So one of these guys is going to hit impressively. Maybe it's Quiddy K. Others are going to be pretty big bucks. So you better know which one you're picking.
Get the fuck out of here.
Caleb Farley has had that second back procedure. Patrick Surtain is now your number 1 cornerback in for Kuiper. He's
return for a Green Bay touchdown. This defense, Charles, they needed some type of a spark to help get them back in this game. I think they just got their spark.
No doubt about it, and you know that's all they discussed. How can we get ourselves moving again? How can we get our team going? This definitely qualifies.
So he's an easy round 1 grade for me. And I've only got a couple more round 1 grades left.
So possession still theirs, but now they face a
Chase
third
Senior
down.
and Tom Downey here with you. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Manscaped. Tom has the perfect package. I do. Three draft prospects that are going to get drafted at the end of April. And if you want to get on our level, again, we're talking about the prospects too, you got to hit up, man. 20% off and free shipping if you go to manscaped.com/chat. The Lawnmower 3.0, an excellent product. Even got that guard on there, so you like to keep a little something down low, not necessarily go right to the skin. You use that guard to have a little bit of a bush there, but not get cut. And no one wants that. Drafting is a bigger thing. You don't want to be in pain. So manscaped.com/chat, 20% off free shipping. Look at the toiletry bag as well. And then the briefs. The briefs are clutch. They are so comfortable. Takes away the fold, so you're not walking around the office and people are looking at you down there like, yo, you gotta hide that thing. So, yeah, and then you also have the ball coat, which is an awesome product. You feel fresh down there, you know? Fresh. And we are keeping it fresh here. And ball deodorant. So after you work out a lot, use that ball deodorant, and I know some people like to hang down there and
He's tripping.
the game, you're going to get plenty of contributors, but that's his second touchdown catch of this game. He's one of the key guys in this one.
And you better believe he'll be looking for the hat trick here as this one continues to go.
Let's continue on and stop talking about balls and get to Mel Kiper's big board. And
They kick it off as they run on base, send this one away. And they're going to mark that where it went out of bounds. So really good starting
Yeah,
field
look,
position.
the Auburn game alone was like, oh man, this guy should go round 1. He's very grabby. And so is Patrick Sam. Both those guys are grabby. But Sertan holds and uses the no contact rule in his favor because it's very subtle. Horn does it and then gets up and goes, what, I flag? And dial that in a little bit. I like J.C. Horn a lot. I've also got a round 1 grade on him.
Yeah, and as the NFL calls more and more flags, cornerbacks who are physical like that, they can get flagged a lot. So Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah, a really intriguing prospect. This is a guy who started at Notre Dame last year. Now, he might not be like a top 12, top 13 pick, but I think this is a guy who's going to be a productive player for a really long time. He's my linebacker 1.
I have him over Parsons and Jamin Davis. So ironically, Kiper and I disagree on linebackers. Some people think he's going to be a safety. I've watched Darius Leonard and Deion Jones play at maybe 220. Jeremiah Owusu-Karamoah can do that. Plug him in as your weak side linebacker. Let him go run and chase.
Trevon Merrick, a guy who is shooting up draft boards, and a guy who I really like. Now, in an era where safeties aren't allowed to be as physical as they once were when Ed Reed, Brian Dawkins, Troy Polamalu were around, Merrick has a little bit of that to his game.
Yeah, I think he's a good fit as a either split safety or can line up some in the slot, can play some free safety. I don't know if he's quite good enough to be a true dynamic cover 1 guy, but of the safeties, he's my number 1 guy this year, just narrowly edged out Richie Green.
We just hit on 5 straight defensive players. Who's going to be the first defender drafted in April? If Parsons off the field stuff checks out, and there's been, of course, the lawsuits, there's been some general maturity concerns, there's real outtakes stuff.
Smells like
He has his 2 scores, but still a sizable deficit in this game.
Do you have any fantasy football?
Unfortunately, no.
It's too bad, right? That would have been big points, but he is really trying to rally his team as best he can. Things are not going as well the rest of the way for them. That's why they're down. With this deficit, he might need to score a couple more times to give them a chance.
After the touchdown on is Pat O'Donnell to send this one away.
NFL draft. Look forward to seeing what you guys come up
Taking it
with.
about
And
the run.
speaking of defenders, we'll move on to Greg Newsome.
I like Newsome a lot. He is my new number 3 cornerback. I got him over Caleb Farley after the back issue. Limited sample size this year, but I think he can be a potential number 1 corner, and he was great against the very good Ohio State receivers before he got hurt. We move forward to Jalen Phillips, an intriguing prospect. Injury issues at UCLA. Maybe he didn't want to play that much football at some point in the future. Now there's possibly a first-round pick. I hate doing this. It's not fair, but this is what the NFL is going to say. So don't blame me. Blame the NFL. He loves music. And NFL teams want people who want to love the NFL. So that's what happens. Mentioned it a few times. I never went edge kind of a muddled class. The medical is key. If you're medical, the history of the country, give it first day. If not, they're going to go in a different direction.
Are you surprised that Mel Kiper is
Give it here to his running back.
Yes and no, it is low for me. This is the last of the 6-13, whatever it's round 1 grades I have on people. I think the reasoning here, and I do get it, is that in general you want your offensive lineman to be a team mother. You want him to just want to bully out. Not what Darisaw always did. There were times he was like, oh, just kind of hang out a little bit. That's not always ideal.
A couple more players to get to. Kadarius Toney. Mel Kiper has him listed at 24 on this big board. Give me a player comp, maybe. He's in the NFL right now, if you have one.
Tony's a unique player, and he doesn't have the greatest, like, pure straight-line speed, but he's so shifty and dynamic and deadly with the ball and that I'm not going to give everybody go because that's not fair.
In there to get him, and that is sack number 6 now for him on the year.
And that was just absolute perfect man coverage. Nowhere for them to go with the football. Led to a sack. That's really difficult to do in today's NFL with all these gazelles running around. But you're trying to cover in the secondary.
Getting this one all the way down
So those are the 25 players on Mel Kiper's latest big board. A lot of really dynamic players and good players who we did not mention. So we asked you this, people, which player is Mel Kiper Jr. sleeping on? Let us know in the comments a player that Mel Kiper is sleeping on. Tom, what do you think?
Two names, one of which I forgot to put on this next graphic. Tevin Jenkins from Oklahoma State and Christian Barmore. I've got both of those guys as round 1/2 grade.
Barmore's
so they're
there.
going to be, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I meant to put Landon Dickerson on.
Okay.
But I had cartwheels yesterday, so the ACL was all right.
He should be high if you trust him.
Which I guess Kiper doesn't, but Farley's on. So look, that's how big boards tend to work. I will make one more note here, by the way. Gregory Russo was on the board. That's a change from Kiper, and makes me wonder if the NFL in general is picking up with draft.
The ability to do everything. You can't just be one or the other. The best ones able to run it, catch it, and produce. Big time.
On in this mock draft, let us know.
Making money with DoorDash is super easy. So recently, I've been trying to figure out a way to make a little extra money, right? My friend was telling me about this DoorDash.
This will make it into the end zone. And he'll just sit on this one as their drive will start at the 25. Now come the Packers for their next drive as we take a look at the NFC coming into the weekend. And I tell you, 4 weeks still to go, and everything is wide open, and it's fun.
And I know we always talk about what the playoffs were to begin today, and then we kind of let's see how it plays out. Wouldn't it be fun to play with this playoff lineup right now? Because
Back here
to
for
me,
first,
just about
quarterback
anyone
Matt Jones
can
was
win this
nothing
whole
shy
thing
of great
this
this
group
past
we
season
played.
at Alabama. Broke the college football record for completion percentage and passing efficiency.
Get the fuck out of here!
Down there to not all that different from the situation Matt Leinart had at USC. Look at that, Reggie Bush among them. Matt joins us this morning. Matt, good morning. Thanks for being with us. How should we gauge Matt Jones' NFL pedigree, given that all the abundance of weapons he had there in Alabama?
Well, first of all, it's great to be on with you guys. Bright and early over here in Southern California. But yeah, look, and by the way, I just heard Coach say it was snowing. It was 80 degrees here down in Manhattan Beach yesterday. So we'll be later on. Yeah, but no, I think it's sort of an unfair argument for Mac Jones. I mean, I think you criticize him for going to an elite school and being an elite player surrounded by elite talent. I don't think we should be able to fault him for that. I do understand when you have Devontae, you have Waddle, you have Najee Harris, you have these guys, and you saw the graphic I had. Phenomenal players around me. I'll always be the first to admit they make me better. But I'm a true believer in Mac Jones' talent. He's not going to allow you the athleticism, which is another criticism that he's been getting here before the draft. But I think what it takes to be a successful quarterback, there's a lot of things in the NFL. It's not just being able to run a 4-4. You don't have to be able to run a 4-4 in the NFL to be successful. What you have to be able to do is process information fast. You have to be able to get the ball out on time. You have to be accurate. You have to make great decisions. You have to be able to understand what defenses are doing to you and dissect them. And then most importantly, can you throw a deep ball accurately? He throws one of the best deep balls in college football. I know he was a little errant in his pro day the other day, but the film doesn't lie. And then also with pressure in his face. I know he had a great offensive line, but there's a lot of times throughout the season where people are bringing pressure, bringing blitzes, and he gets the ball out quickly. So, look, he's not going to wow you with the measurables, but he wows you with the consistency you see on film. He did it week in and week out against the toughest competition in all of college football. And lastly, I would say about Mac Jones, and obviously I know Steve Sarkisian extremely well. He was my coach at USC. He was Mac Jones' coach last year. I talked to him before the season, and I just said, hey, what do you like about Mac Jones? Remember, he was replacing Tua. He was fending off Bryce Young, the #1 recruit in all of in high school football from my former high school, Mater Dei. And he said, he is the ultra competitor. And for me, that's one of the traits that you need to make it in the NFL, because a lot of these guys, they have talent, whether they can run fast, whether they can throw the football far. Do you have that competitive desire, passion to be great? And that was the first thing he said to me. He said, dude, man, this kid is so freaking competitive. He wants to win. He wants to be great. And listen, that's how he played last year. And I don't like the argument that he's surrounded by great players. I think he's a really talented football player. If he goes to the right organization, right coaching, like a lot of quarterbacks in the NFL, I think he's going to have a tremendous career.
Well, hell, Patrick Mahomes is surrounded by great players. Aaron Rodgers, how many receivers has he had over the years? Please, miss me with that. The question for you, Matt, is this. Mac Jones, a lot of talk about him and the 49ers, but the 49ers be making a mistake by taking him at the number 3 spot.
And his guys are going to add on to their lead.
That's a great question. I personally have Justin Fields as my second-rated quarterback, and I would slot him there. From everything I hear, I'm sure you guys say the same. I know Kyle Shanahan is in love with Mac Jones, but we'll see what happens on Pro Day. For me, Justin Fields, because I believe Justin Fields expands that playbook. He takes you above the X's and O's with his ability to make plays. And I actually played in that offense. I played for Gary Kubiak in Houston, and actually spoke to Kyle. Kyle was trying to get me as a free agent over in the Redskins years ago. So I know that system extremely well. There's a lot of intricacies, a lot of nuances, but once you master it, obviously we know these types of quarterbacks can have tremendous success. Justin Fields, to me, would be a perfect fit in that system with the way they run the bootlegs, with the way he likes to get his quarterbacks outside of the pocket, and with his arm strength and his ability, as you see these highlights, I mean, his ability just to make you miss, his athleticism, and the fact that he can throw the football from the pocket. I think he showed that last year in the Clemson game. To me, Justin Fields would be that pick, in my opinion. But listen, Mac Jones really fits the mold of kind of what Kyle likes in the quarterbacks, at least in the last handful of quarterbacks he's had with Kirk Cousins and Jimmy G. But remember, I would say this. Remember, he had RG3 years ago, and it was a dual-threat quarterback, and they made the playoffs. So it's going to be interesting. You trade the farm to get to that pick. You better hit that pick, or else that could set your coaching career, that could set your organization back years.
All right, Matt, I need you to help me with a problem I have. I watched a ton of Mac Jones. I watched a ton of Alabama. I watched the national championship game. I watched no Trey Lance games. He only played one game. It's not like I was watching North Dakota State games. But now, all of a sudden, come draft day, draft season, I'm like, oh, Trey Lance, I don't know anything about him except these little highlights. He looks good. Do you think, and I think that I'm not the only one, I just feel like familiarity breeds contempt. Like familiarity breeds sort of like, I don't know, like we've lost the specialness of Mac Jones, and people are more interested in the unknown of what you can get with Trey Lance. So I guess my question is this. Do you think that Mac Jones has been almost overexposed, has been underrated at this point?